So it is 5 o'clock. Welcome everyone. I just want to be mindful of everyone's time and just making sure everyone can hear me and see me okay.
Yep. Yes.
Yep, we hear you.
All right. So welcome everyone. I'm very excited for tonight's event. I appreciate everyone's participation and thank you everyone who's joined. So thank you again for joining Albany Stratton VA's Women's Health Public Forum. My name is Emily DeSalvo. I'm the Women Veterans Program Manager, and I've been in this role since February, this past February. Prior to this, I was with the Buffalo VA, and I'm a social worker by discipline. I'm extremely grateful for this opportunity to support a very special population, women veterans. By history, VA healthcare services were mainly geared towards men, but this has changed and continues to change. Women veterans are a quickly growing group. National Women's Health Services has recognized that there was a need to enhance the care offered to women, and this has allowed for increased funding and opportunities such as this to bring more awareness to the healthcare needs of women veterans. This public forum is one example of the efforts being made to ensure that women veterans are both aware of the services available to them and to give a platform for you to have a voice and share your feedback, ask questions. So some quick housekeeping items using this platform. And some of you have dialed in and some of you may be joining virtually. We will be holding questions until the end. If you've dialed in, please press *3 to raise your hand. That triggers WebEx to raise your hand, and Sean will unmute you at the end for questions and comments. If you're accessing this meeting virtually, you can enter your questions and comments into the chat as we move along. And before we get to the agenda, let me introduce to you Sean Tuckey, who has played an integral role in planning this public forum. Sean is a Marine veteran and is the health system specialist for our director's office. Sean has been with the VA for 12 years, and 8 of those he's been with the Behavioral Health Department. He's a great ambassador helping to support women veterans. So thank you, Sean. He will be assisting with the WebEx platform tonight. I apologize in advance if we do have any technical issues. Please be patient, but I know that we're in good hands with you, Sean, so thank you. We do have a full agenda ahead of presenters to highlight services being offered through the Albany VA. I may have been a bit overzealous with how much we can cover in an hour, but I'm just really excited for us to share as much as possible. Again, we will hold questions until the end when Sean will assist with unmuting the participants to open up the floor. So to begin with, I'm honored to introduce our Medical Center Director, Ms. Darlene Delancey. Thank you, Director, for joining us tonight.
Okay, thank you, Emily. It's a pleasure to be with you today. And I really want to say the work that you have been doing is wonderful with you and your colleagues in the Women's Health Program, Dr. Mesidor, and then, of course, with Sean and the others on this team. You've brought so much, and we have so far to go. But however, you have given so much to this organization, and I look forward to be able to address some of the concerns and talk about some of the wonderful things that we're doing.
Thank you, Director. And Sean, if you want to advance the slides. So women veterans healthcare, you know, again, this is a mission that's set forth nationally from Women's Health Services, and it's meant to ensure that the services being provided are timely, equitable, high quality, and comprehensive healthcare services. And we want to ensure that the environment is safe for all veterans, but especially for women that come into our facilities. You know, we do strive to be a national leader with our healthcare services. And, you know, again, this is just one area, one way that we are trying to enhance all of the services that we're providing. So, you know, providing comprehensive primary care, again, privacy is of utmost importance. We do have our women's wellness center on the 8th floor D wing in our main facility. And I know Dr. Mesidor will talk a little bit more about our healthcare services as well. You know, we have gotten some funding from national called WISE, which is Women's Health Incentives for Staffing and Equipment. And so again, this is just one way that National Women's Health Services is recognizing that we do have a ways to go, that we have ways to enhance and support these services. So the funding will help with some of the staffing, such as a primary care social worker, is also a pelvic floor physical therapist. So just a couple examples of ways that we're trying to enhance these services. And so next slide, Sean, if you wanted to take that.
Thank you. So one of the reasons we're doing this forum is that, as you can see on the slide, over time, women have made up anywhere from 2% of the military to 17% today. Oh, sorry, I thought I heard something. I'm just going to mute the group. So even thinking about, Emily and I were talking as we were preparing for the presentation today, when I enlisted in the Marines in 2000, and women made up about 4% of the military at that time. And when I left in 2008, it was up around 10%. And as you can see by the slide, by 2040, the Department of Defense estimates that 20% of the veteran population will be women. Before I worked for the director, I worked in a clinical role in behavioral health, and I did a lot of outreach. And one of the things I would always tell folks is the reason we do outreach is we want to make sure we share with veterans information that they weren't always given when they left the service. So this public forum, in many ways, is to help share information with veterans who don't know anything about the VA, about the services that we offer at the VA.
Thank you, Sean. And next up, we have Dr. Mesidor, who is our Women's Health Medical Director and our full-time gynecologist. If we can actually advance one more time, Sean, and we'll come back to that one. So Dr. Mesidor, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you, Emily. Thank you for arranging this to everyone involved. Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us. My name is Dr. Suzanne Mesidor. I've been here at this VA for the past 10 years, and I've watched the Women's Wellness Program grow from a closet-sized area, literally a small area that we were located in for GYN care, and to now a full-size wellness center. We have a small wing on the 8th floor that provides us a private space for our women. So we are in the process, we have been in the process over the years of incorporating multiple providers in this space to care for our women. So our team comprises of a Women's Veterans Program Manager, Emily, a primary care provider. We have behavioral health specialist available, social worker available, clinical pharmacist that works with us in terms of, working through medications that our patients may need, a maternity care coordinator, and soon to come, we're going to have a pelvic floor physical therapist. Next slide. So we have expanded. So show on the next, oh, thank you. So we are actually have expanded not just in the Women's Wellness Center, but we have more primary care providers who are designated women's health primary care providers, and they're scattered in the between the medical center and also in between our 10 CBOCs, the community-based outpatient clinics. So we have a main space for women at the VA in Albany, but we also have providers who are trained in providing health for women and care for women at the local CBOCs. So we also have GYN, Physician on the Move, where we have GYN services at the Catskill CBOC once a month. And we have a plethora of other services that we have for our women, and offering them infertility services, GYN oncology, maternity care, which includes up to the infant's first week of life. We also have after hours for non-urgent medical questions. So our vets can always have someone at their fingertips to give them questions. We also have a same-day walk-in. It's analogous to a walk-in center, an urgent care, and emergency room services for our women, for our female veterans. Next slide. Our maternity care is quite comprehensive. We have a maternity care coordinator, Jessica Hermans, who assists pregnant veterans from the start of their pregnancy and help them navigating the community care services. We have patients go to whichever OBGYN that they might need to see in the community, and the VA usually covers the cost of this care, which includes lactation consultation, prenatal classes if they need to, and they would send them things like a breast pump and provide care for the baby up to the first week of life. So they even have right now at the VA, we have virtual childbirth classes through New York Harbor. We had our first drive-through baby shower, which was in April. That was quite a success. And our next drive-through baby shower is going to be this Friday, the 24th. So our services that we provide are quite comprehensive. Next slide, Sean. We provide things like blood pressure readings and colorectal cancer screenings, hepatitis screening and care for your cholesterol, depression, wellness checks, mammogram, pelvic exams. We have things that we refer out to the community for cancer care. There are many services that if we don't have it here at the facility, we refer out to the community, but there are a lot of services that we do offer, like the bone mineral density scanning and mammograms and sexual trauma counseling, intimate partner violence, peer supports, chaplain services. We have quite an extensive group, and it's wonderful working with all the devoted providers and my coworkers as we provide care for female veterans. Thank you for coming and for joining us. Emily?
Did I mess up and skip a slide?
Nope, you're good.
Okay.
We are done with this. Next slide, please. Thank you. Thanks, Sean.
Okay.
I was muted. There's a technical glitch again. So thank you, Dr. Mesidor, for covering the services, the healthcare services. Next up, we have Leah McDonald. Sorry for the feedback.
Hold on one second. Let me mute the group.
Thank you, Sean. So we have Leah up next, who is the program manager for the post 9/11 military to VA program, formerly known as OEF, OND, also transition and care management. Leah, do we have you on?
Yes, can folks hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much, Emily and everyone, for having me on tonight. So as Emily mentioned, my name is Leah McDonald. I'm a social worker at the Albany VA. I've been with the Albany VA about 15 years working in the same program, and we've had several names over the years. We are currently called Post 9/11 Military to VA Program. The mission has not necessarily changed, but folks might recall at one point we were called the OEF, OIF, OND program, synonymous with the Operations for Enduring Freedom, Iraqi Freedom, New Dawn program. And so we primarily help folks as they enter the system and transition in from the military. So when folks are being medically boarded or discharged or retired, there are actually VA DoD liaisons stationed in many of the larger military treatment facilities throughout the country. And there are virtual ones where we don't have one stationed. And we try to make it a smooth transition. And that includes screening for what we call case management or care coordination needs, whether it be needs of the veteran or the family member in regards to establishing health care, mental health, primary care, specialty care, or psychosocial needs, housing, finances, employment is a big piece that we work on. And so when folks are transitioning in, we follow them for a time, we do those screenings, we make sure that they're aware of all the services that you're going to learn about tonight, and connect them. So we are really like the easy button, stealing some staples, in that you have a point of contact for questions that you might have or care coordination concerns that you might have. And perhaps I don't know all of the answers, but I know someone who does. And so we do a lot of warm handoffs to the folks that you're working with or learning about today. We also outreach to all of our newly enrolled veterans. So if a veteran is brand new to our system and they have never been screened by the Post 9/11 program or OEF/OIF program prior to coming to the Albany VA, and they establish a care, could be any care within our facility, they end up on a list, and I end up outreaching to them, and I do phone calls and letters, a little bit of stalking, but usually it's very well received, and the veteran's really appreciative. And then we follow them throughout that continuum of care, and we get them connected, and make sure that if they have any what we identify as far as health or mental health risk factors, that they know about urgent resources, and that we help them with that. And we also work really closely with our local veteran service officers and benefits partners around all of the great benefits that are afforded to our veterans beyond healthcare, things like GI Bill or getting service connected for any injuries or illnesses that may have been incurred or aggravated while they were on orders. And we're really looking holistically at the veteran and their family members. So I have this little picture up. And we're looking at the whole person. So that might include, as I mentioned, some of the medical or mental health concerns. It could include environmental contaminants exposure. Folks might have heard about airborne hazards and recent presumptive conditions for veterans who served in these areas of conflicts that may have been exposed to things like burn pits or particulate matters and have been diagnosed with things like sinusitis or asthma. So that is a newly presumptive, what's been determined presumptive condition. So if folks don't know about that, please, by all means, reach out to me. Give me a call. I'm happy to connect you with a benefits counselor. So we're looking at things like that, but we're also looking at marital or family concerns, financial difficulties, and helping folks as they transition, because we really want to help them. You know, when you're in the military, folks are very mission oriented around serving and being deployed, right? And so when they transition home, oftentimes we find that this can be a period of time where they feel quite isolated, particularly in the Albany area. We have predominantly Guard and reservists, not a lot of large military installations. So oftentimes they feel like they're disconnected and don't have a lot of peers that understand what they've gone through. Next slide, please. So I wanted to highlight something that is more of a self-directed level of care that we might call, it's called the Women's Health Transition Training. So certainly if you're someone who is more independent and looking for some online self-paced resources, these are trainings that were specifically created for women. And there are different trainings. Some might recognize the TAP program, the Transition Assistance Program, that perhaps they had prior to their discharge, but oftentimes what I hear from veterans is that it feels a lot like death by PowerPoint when they're just leaving and want to get home. And there's also specific trainings on women's health, personalized career planning and guidance, economic development, and military life cycles. We also are looking at, you know, folks being successful in their careers when they transition. So hopefully people will find this as a helpful resource. I'm not sure, I would have to ask Sean or Emily if there's a way that we could email these PowerPoints to you if you're interested. I'm happy to share those live links. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Leah, you beat me to it. I'm going to drop a PDF version of the PowerPoint presentation into the chat box for folks who are logged in. And then at the very end, we'll have Emily and I's email. If you're not logged in, you just call them by phone, we can email it to you as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You're always way ahead of me in the world of technology, Sean. Thanks.
We are lucky to have Sean on board for sure. Next up, we have Christina McMahon, who is playing a huge role with our COVID vaccine efforts. Christina is our Acting Deputy Associate Chief Nurse for Ambulatory Care.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So our COVID vaccine clinic, COVID vaccines are recommended for both pregnant and postpartum people. We've vaccinated over 1,000 female veterans here in Albany. and a total of over 14,000 Albany veterans have been vaccinated. We are currently offering Moderna and Johnson & Johnson. If you're interested in receiving your COVID vaccine, you can call the number below, which will be in the slides that are sent out. In addition to that, starting next week on Monday, the 27th, we'll also be offering the flu vaccine, both the regular dose and the high dose. And you can call that number to schedule as well. The vaccine clinic is located on 3A at the very end of the hall as you go. And both vaccines are free of charge or copay. Next slide. There has been a lot of questions and myths surrounding the COVID vaccine, so I just wanted to quick talk about some of those. One of the large concerns, especially among female veterans, is if the COVID-19 vaccine can affect a woman's fertility. And the true answer to that is no, it doesn't. It doesn't affect your fertility or for any woman who is looking to become pregnant. The next myth that we frequently hear is, does the vaccine give you COVID-19? The answer to that is no, the vaccine will not and cannot give you COVID-19. The vaccine uses mRNA vaccines that instruct your body to reproduce a protein that is part of the SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus, which helps your body recognize and fight the virus if it comes along. The COVID-19 vaccine does not contain that virus. It's not a live virus at all, so you cannot get COVID-19 from the vaccine. The protein that helps your immune system recognize and fight the virus does not cause any sort of infection. Another common question is, if I've already had if I've already been ill with COVID-19, do I still need my vaccine? Many people who have gotten sick from COVID-19 may still benefit from getting vaccinated. Due to the severe health risks associated with COVID-19 and the fact that reinfection with COVID-19 is possible, people may be advised to get the COVID-19 vaccine even if they've already had the disease. But you would want to refer to your primary care physician to discuss and further. And then, what are possible side effects of the COVID vaccine? There's a variety of side effects, but the majority of side effects is that are short-term and include body aches, headaches, and fever. Please feel free to call us and schedule both your COVID vaccine and your flu vaccine.
Thank you, Christina. Absolutely important information. And next up, we have Sam Ozillo, who is an Army veteran himself, presenting on VA virtual care, also known as telehealth services. Sam?
Sam, if you're talking, you're on mute.
No, I saw you in here, Sam. Maybe some things happen. He's maybe run into a technical glitch.
I was just saying, I can as our resident techie, I can cover Sam's slide. So if you're not familiar with telehealth, it's really grown leaps and bounds. But actually, even before I go there, just a fun fact for everybody: the VA was the first healthcare facility to start doing telehealth, going back to 1954, between the I believe it was Manhattan VA and the Kansas VA. So we have been doing telehealth for quite some time. The pandemic has kind of really spurred us in overdrive with using telehealth for many things, from dermatology to primary care to telestroke services. We use it in just about every component of our healthcare system. One of the things that Sam wanted to make you aware of is that we have Sam, you there?
How's it
Oh, there you
going?
are.
Yeah, I was finally able to log in. Sorry.
That's okay.
Computers haven't given me issues, so I had to call in on the phone.
No problem. I'll let you take over.
So where were you at with telehealth? Sorry about that, folks.
That's okay. I was just kind of giving a general overview. I was giving you time. I didn't know you had a tech problem, but I was giving you time.
Yeah, so the guy that handles all the tech issues for telehealth was having a tech problem, but unfortunately it wasn't me. It was just my work computer. So telehealth has expanded our modalities of care for all of our veteran population for the sheer fact that we're able to offer appointments to folks that potentially may not be able to make it into the clinic. Either they're working or there's a child care issue or something along those lines. So what telehealth allows our providers to do is be able to see that veteran, but it also allows our veteran not to have to travel into the clinic. So whether it's one of our CBOCs or the main hospital, a lot of our provider teams, be it specialty care, primary care, or general services, actually see their veteran population via either CVT, which is clinical video technology, so at one of our CBOCs, so one of our outpatient clinics, or via VBC. And what VBC allows us is for you as the veteran to actually have your appointment anywhere that's comfortable for you. So if you're at work and you want to take your lunch break to have your appointment, you're able to do that, as long as you plan ahead with your care team. And that helps for folks that have limited time off from work, whether it be sick time or, personal time, but also in times of inclement weather. Winter is fast approaching here in the Northeast. So as we look at snowstorms coming in, whether it's the provider not being able to make it into the facility or the patient not being able to make it in, we have the ability for our providers to actually reach out to you as a veteran from their own homes if they need to, and then be able to conduct that visit. And the other nice thing is we can do what we call appointments on the fly. So maybe originally you had a scheduled phone visit with your provider and you determined that it was going, you had something else come up and you'd really like them to look at something. They can actually send you a text message or an email literally as you're talking to them. And then you're able to join a video appointment and see them and discuss your concern with them. So it makes for a more open platform of care for our veteran population. And then we also have iPads that we send out to our veteran population. So if you're someone who doesn't have technology, so you don't have a computer, you don't have a smartphone, and you and your provider think that this would be appropriate for your continued care, they can actually put in what we call a digital divide consult. When that's placed, the social worker who is most closely related to you, so whether you follow specialty care or primary care, the social worker who's spoken to you before will actually be the one who makes that outreach call. And not only do they find out if you need a device, but they go over, is there anything else that the VA can help you with? And then if they determine that you need a device, they actually place what we call our video device order. That gets alerted to my team in telehealth, and then we actually issue a VA iPad out. The iPads don't come with the ability to download in the App Store, but they do have the full VA App Store. So the PTSD coach, the Move coach, smoking cessation, all of those are embedded right in the iPad, and you're able to download those. If you're a veteran who uses My Healthy Vet, that's directly on the iPad. You're able to put an email on the iPad, and you also are able to join any video appointments with your providers directly from that iPad. So that's the general gist of telehealth. We do a lot of services. We do what we call teledermatology. So you can go into your clinic, they'll take a bunch of pictures of your area of concern. They actually get uploaded into your chart. And then currently we have a dermatologist out in Buffalo who reads those and sends recommendations back to your primary care. And we're actually working on instituting what we call CVT dermatology. So you'll be seeing a dermatologist real time, not at our site in Albany. They're actually out of the Bronx, but we would be utilizing their services for you to be seen. So any general questions for me?
We're actually going to hold questions till the end, Sam, but thank you. And thanks for helping on. Sorry for the technical issues.
No worries. I'll be on, so I'm good now.
Thank you. Sean, okay, next slide. And our next presenter is Suzanne Dean, my predecessor, who has laid a phenomenal groundwork to allow for these continued advancements with women's health services. Suzanne is now the Caregiver Support Program Manager with our VA. Suzanne, are you on?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me here today. Yes, as Emily mentioned, I am the former Women Veteran Program Manager for Albany. So I'm really excited to be here today to talk about another great program in the VA, which is the VA Caregiver Support Program. The mission of the Caregiver Support Program is to, oh, sorry, if you could just go back one second, if you're able to.
Sorry, Suzanne, I can. Sorry.
Thank you. Is to promote the health and well-being of family caregivers who care for our nation's veterans through education, resources, support, and services. Okay, next slide. Okay, so there's essentially two components to the overall caregiver support program. There's our program of comprehensive assistance for family caregivers, or otherwise known as PCAFC, and the program of general caregiver support services, otherwise known as the PGCSS. As you can see here, each of the programs has kind of its own components to it. So under the program of general caregiver support services, the four core elements there is for education, support, collaboration and partnerships, outreach, and resources and referrals. And this program is available to caregivers of who care for veterans. So the caregivers don't necessarily have to live with the veteran or be related to the veteran. If they're providing care and support to a veteran, then they are potentially eligible to be part of the PGCSS and to take part in the programs that are listed underneath. Now, the program of comprehensive assistance for family caregivers, this program does require an application. So I'll talk about that a little bit more as we move forward. But this program is for veterans who are considered seriously disabled, which is meaning they have a disability rating through the VA of 70% or more service connected. And currently is for veterans who served prior to May 7th of 1975 or after 9/11 of 2001. But the eligibility is expected to expand next October 2022 to include all ERA veterans. And this provides, if they're approved for this program, their family caregiver who's providing personal care services for them would receive a monthly stipend, access to CHAMP VA if they don't have other health insurance coverage, mental health counseling through the VA, caregiver training, enhanced respite services. Some situations they may be eligible for beneficiary travel and ongoing monitoring through our wellness contacts. And over to the left-hand side is some other VA services that support caregivers. And so as you can see, we have a variety of services outside of the caregiver program that we work very closely with in order to enhance our services for our veterans and to support our caregivers who are caring for our veterans at home, and to hopefully help them remain safe and be able to stay home. But if not, there are situations where the veteran may need to be placed in a facility or an adult an assisted living center. And so, in those situations, we do have programs that will assist with that as well. Next slide. And so in order to apply, if a veteran has a family caregiver means that they're related to the veteran by blood or marriage, or they live with the veteran full time. And they're providing really hands-on care to the veteran, and the veteran meets the criteria that I mentioned earlier. They can apply for the program of comprehensive assistance for family caregivers by completing the application on the VA caregiver website. Is really where the most information is stored as well. It's a great website to review all of the information in regards to the caregiver program, but that's also where the veterans and caregivers can apply right online. So they just fill out the application online, submit it online, and it automatically comes, it is directed to the correct VA. So if the veteran receives their care at Albany VA, that they would indicate that on the application, and the application will automatically be sent to Albany for us to take it and process it from there. They can also download and print it out if they prefer to do that. That's fine too as well. And can contact our local program, caregiver support program, for any assistance that's needed in the application process, as well as the local veteran service officer for completing and submitting the application. So a little bit more about the General Caregiver Program. Again, that provides resources, education, and support to caregivers of all ERA veterans. The veteran does need to be enrolled in VA healthcare, but does not necessarily have to be have a service-connected condition. And no formal application is required. It's really the caregivers expressing, just has to express interest in some component of the General Caregiver Program. Wanting to, you don't have to be part of everything, but if they want to take part in one or two of the different elements of the program, then we can enroll them in the General Caregiver Program. So some of those different programs that they could be part of is Building Better Caregivers, which is an online module that the caregivers can take on their own time. They could do from home. There's some self-care courses for caregivers that we offer through our caregiver support line. There's education calls. We have peer support, mentoring, the REACH VA caregiver program, which is a modality where, say, caregivers are, they're running into a particular challenge or problem in the caregiving role, and they just want to work, with someone one-on-one. Our caregiver support coordinators get certified in this modality. It's an evidence-based practice where they work one-on-one with the caregivers for about, 4 or so sessions to help them with problem solving, skill building, and stress management. And then our Annie Caregiver Text Program, which is very, caregivers really love this texting program. And it's really, her name is Annie, and she sends a couple texts a week to the caregiver, and just giving them some inspirational, motivational, quotes, and some helpful information, some stress management techniques that they can, just remember to take a breath, things like that. And they just really love having that support from Annie. So we enroll a lot of our caregivers in the Annie text, and it really doesn't take a lot of time out of their day to take part in that. So as I mentioned earlier, the caregiver support line, that is a 1-800 number. That's a national number that caregivers can call Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is staffed by VA clinical staff who are trained in assisting caregivers, providing some supportive counseling, education and resources. And then usually they, if the caregiver is agreeable, they can refer the caregiver to the local VA caregiver support team through our IT system. So we would receive that referral. The caregiver support line would write a little note in regards to what they talked about with the caregiver, what the caregiver is interested in or had questions about. They'll send that our way, and then one of us from our team would reach out again to the caregiver just to give them some more local information and see if we could get them enrolled in General Caregiver Support Services, or if there's any additional support that they, that we can offer them. So here's the number, the caregiver support line, the 1-855-260-3274. And again, to find if someone's not an Albany veteran, they can also locate their local caregiver support program through the VA caregiver website. And my contact information is on there. Our number, the 518-626-6020, is our centralized line for the caregiver support program in Albany. So currently we have a team of 4, but we have another person coming on board soon. So I'll receive any of the messages that come through on that line. and are able to respond to anyone who contacts us with questions or concerns, within a very timely manner. So
Thank you,
Um,
Suzanne. Appreciate
sure.
your presentation tonight. And next up, we have with our Suicide Prevention 2.0 team, Community Engagement and Partnership Coordinators. We have Jennifer Caratolo on. And I don't know that Michelle was able to join us. I know she was on travel. Jennifer, are you on?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Can you see me all right? Okay.
Yep.
Sean talking, shaking his head. So thank you. So I'm Jennifer Caratolo. As you mentioned, I am one of two of the community engagement and partnership coordinators. Michelle Chavarria is currently in Las Vegas with our chief of police and our Veterans Justice Outreach Coordinator giving training. So I'm going to be the one talking today since I am in sunny Albany. Okay. So as a lot of you may have already been aware that we do have a suicide prevention program at every VA. It's a clinical program that is, designed to provide enhanced care to our high-risk veterans who are struggling with suicidality. I had been in a clinical role within our suicide prevention program for about 8 years. And in the last couple of years, VA has launched a new initiative, which is our Community Engagement Partnership Coordinator program, to really strengthen the community outreach and the partnerships with our stakeholders in the community. And, the reason behind this is really looking at the fact that, majority of our veterans who are dying by suicide each day are not engaged in VA care and are not connected in any way. And so part of that is looking at where are they if they are not connected with us, but also the services that they're receiving in the community if for some reason they are not engaging with us, to help strengthen some of those supports and the services that are being provided to our veterans out there. So how, our priorities, focus priority areas, are to identify the service members, the veterans and their families, and help folks screen for suicide risk. So we do a really good job of that within the VA system. We do that not just in our mental health clinics, but in all of our primary care clinics, our emergency rooms, our specialty clinics, but also looking at, folks that are being screened maybe in like local emergency rooms or out in primary care in the community that aren't just serving our veterans. How do we strengthen looking at that screening for when they do come in and they're not coming in our doors. We want to promote connectedness and improve the care transitions. And we also want to increase lethal means safety and safety planning. A lot of people don't know in the community that VA provides free gun locks, trigger locks. Last year, we gave out just under 10,000 gun locks, and they're free, and we give them out to our veterans, our family members, to help create that barrier to an impulsive act when somebody is struggling with their suicidality or having thoughts of hurting themselves or others. And then, how do we meet those focus areas? So coalition development and management. There are a lot of existing coalitions that are fantastic in our counties. We serve 18 counties, the Albany VA does, and a lot of our counties already have suicide prevention coalitions, but not all of them have a really strong VA presence and a strong focus on our veterans in the communities. So that's something that Michelle and I are working on, really joining existing coalitions, but also looking at developing new coalitions with different partners in the community. One that we're really excited about that we've started developing is with our New York State Problem Gambling Center. And so that's an area that we're going to be building a coalition and bringing a lot of people to the table in the communities to help better serve our veterans who are struggling with gambling addiction, which puts them at a very high risk for self-harm. Looking at community education, not just with lethal means, but also looking at, the screening for suicide and how do you support somebody who is struggling, especially our veteran population, especially when they're struggling with suicidality, and the community engagement. One of the most important things about our work is not going into the community and telling people what they need. It's really hearing from folks what they need from us and what would be helpful, not just from suicide prevention, but VA as a whole, looking at how we can better support our veterans, not just, locally in the Albany area, but even like in our North Country. The needs are very different from Franklin County up north to Albany County. And so, really working with folks to see what they need and what we can do to help them. Is that the last slide?
That is your last slide, but I'm just going to go back if I can, Jen, and give you a shout out. So for the folks who can see, the folks who joined online, the picture on this screen is from Chalk the Walk event that the suicide prevention team led on Sunday, where staff and the children of staff came in and wrote encouraging messages on the walkway to the medical center. If you want to see the full video, you can check it out on our Facebook page. There's a video and some pictures. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm the really tiny one in that photo.
And Jen, I'm sorry, did we miss a slide of yours, or were you?
No, I'm not used to not talking a lot, so I thought for sure maybe I had skipped over something. I was surprised that I spoke so fast and was done so quickly, so I thought maybe I missed something.
It is appreciated. And next up, we have Kat Kapowski, who is our Intimate Partner Violence Assistant Program Coordinator. Kat?
Thanks, Emily. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Thanks for organizing this. My name is Kat, and I coordinate the Intimate Partner Violence Assistance Program here at the VA. Every VA in the country has someone in this position, and so it's a national program. Go ahead and you can go ahead with the next slide, please. I just wanted to really briefly, because I know we were short on time and we have a lot to cover, but I put the definition of IPV up there because a lot of folks kind of ask about, well, what about domestic violence? And so this program is specifically geared toward veterans who are in intimate partnerships with a partner who are experiencing a wide range of what we consider IPV, which is not just physical violence, but also verbal and emotional, financial control, intimidation, those sorts of things. And I just want to also mention that it's men and women. Men and women can both use and experience violence. I know we're specifically focusing on women veterans here, but I just wanted to kind of say that our VA services a wide range of folks. And go ahead and forward. Yeah, that's great. I just want to kind of focus on when we're working with female veterans related to IPV, we use really recovery-based language, and we have a lot of trauma-informed programs that are specifically geared towards our women veterans who are experiencing violence. We also have programs for women veterans if they're using violence, because we know that can also happen, and that's also part of the population. And so we're sure to be able to provide treatment and services for both of those populations. Just discuss the scope of our IPVAP program here. So I also just want to point out that we serve, starting at the bottom there, but we also serve VA staff who might be experiencing IPV. We serve, like I mentioned before, veterans who experience IPV with screening. We actually started this program, we piloted this IPV screening program in the women's program years ago, and Dr. Mesidora and her whole team were just really instrumental in starting the screening with our female veterans. And I've had so much feedback from so many women veterans about how grateful they are that they knew we were screening, that we provided services and resources for them. And really the kind of door into getting our services here is by asking these questions and being really supportive and trauma informed and how we're asking the questions. And so we've had a lot of feedback over the years from female veterans who are really grateful that the screening was there for them to be able to find out what resources were available to them. So here are some of the resources. We have a Strength at Home group for veterans using IPV. And like I mentioned, it's not just male veterans that is that population. We also have some female veterans. So we do have the availability for a group and also individual therapy for female veterans who might be using some form of violence in their relationship. The RISE program is individual treatment for veterans experiencing IPV. And this has primarily been for women veterans, female veterans. We are also a pilot site for this, a really great trauma-informed program that allows the female veteran to kind of pick which module to start working on. There are 6 different modules for this treatment program, and ranging from self-care to safety planning to trying to decide whether to leave the relationship or stay, and also the physical impact of IPV on them. And then we have a group experience as well for veterans who are experiencing IPV that we started this year, which is really successful. Go ahead and, yeah. I'm not going to go through this. This is just kind of the different areas that the Strength at Home group offers with coping strategies and conflict management and communication skills. Go ahead. This is the RISE protocol that I mentioned. These are all the different modules that the veterans can choose from for helping them with either staying in the relationship safely if they make that choice, because it's important for them to be the person deciding, the expert on what makes the most sense for their well-being and safety. And so these are some of the examples of treatment modules that they can choose. Go ahead. And the group that we just recently ran, we've been able to switch it to VBC. Sam was talking before about telehealth. And in terms of this population, you know, of experiencing intimate partner violence, we have to be really careful about safety. And so with our documentation, we're very careful with that. There's a lot of training I provide to staff about awareness related to documentation and charts around this, and also just how we're offering the service. And so we were able to make sure we can continue to safely offer support both individually and in groups for female veterans that are experiencing violence. And we're going to be offering this group again very soon in the near future. Go ahead. I think that might be it. Yep. So that's my information there. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out either about screening or services available to our veterans who are having any kind of experience with IPV. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cap. Really appreciate it. And next up, we have Maureen Corbett, who is our Healthcare for Homeless Veterans and Compensated Work Therapy Program Manager. Maureen?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm Maureen. I oversee the housing and vocational programs here at the VA. And you can go to the next slide. And so there's really no wrong door to come to our programs. We do have, that the first slide had we have a hotline number. That's a national number that you can call. We have, you can just walk into our medical center and we have some walk-in hours. And then you can call, we have an on-call number you can also call to get connected to our services. But the first thing we do is we ask questions. We do a very veteran-centered housing plan. So we're just going to ask you some questions about your current housing. If you're at risk for homelessness, if you are homeless and you need shelter, we connect you to services that can provide immediate shelter. So some of the unique aspects we have for female veterans is we have Guardian House, which is an all-female transitional living. It's up in Boston Spa under our Veteran Community and Housing Coalition, VCHC community provider. Very beautiful home in a nice location. There's 5 beds that are private, and they just got awarded a grant where they're going to update all the rooms and have private bathrooms for all the rooms. So already a nice house, and they're going to make it even nicer. So we also provide case management, and we connect female veterans to community resources. The transitional living can go anywhere from a few months to up to 2 years, depending on each veteran's needs. And then we also provide some female peer support services. So we have a female peer support who goes to the house, who does virtual individual sessions, and she's a veteran receiving services at the VA, and so she's able to help to share her story and to help other female veterans. We're also doing some virtual whole health groups. I think Glenn's going to talk about whole health a little bit later. And we also do some women's groups, but the whole health groups are topic groups usually, and they're all virtual right now. So it's, like nutrition, recovery, really anything you can kind of think of that relates to health and empowerment. And so we do, it's an open group on Tuesdays that is virtual, open to all veterans. Then we also have our HUD-VASH program. This is a very large program. We have 500 HUD-VASH vouchers all throughout our community. So we have vouchers, all the way up in the North Country, Franklin, Essex County, down to Ulster County, Schoharie. We have quite a few right in our capital district, Schenectady. So this program is it's for female veterans and their families, and it's based on income. And it's really a supportive program. So we help you every step of the way to identify an apartment, to identify what kind of support you might need. We try to help to get, we have startup kits, we get furniture, we help to get anything you need you can think of that when, bedding, when you move into a new apartment. And we're always looking for opportunities to find new developments, nice places. There's some in Saratoga that we're working on tomorrow. Our HUD-VASH coordinator is going down to Ulster County to look at some units. So we're always looking for opportunities to grow our housing stock to help more veterans to find permanent housing. We do a lot of collaboration with community organizations and providers. Soldier On is an organization that has permanent housing over in Pittsfield, an all-female unit, which is also very nice. And there's a new Christopher House in Troy that's housing female veterans. So we're always looking to partner, and whatever we can't do, we're looking in the community to find resources to make sure female veterans and their families are housed and safe. You can go to the next slide. We also have great vocational services at the VA. We provide really veteran programming around employment goals. We have so many employers that really want to hire veterans, are looking to hire veterans. They come with so many skills. And we have an employer council. It's a veteran employment council that has 15 employers. We meet quarterly, and they're contributing to, feedback about hiring veterans. So we just, if you're a female veteran and you're looking for employment, or you're not sure what you want to do, we can help you with career exploration. You might need to go back to school or get more training. What we do is we just ask you questions about, what is your short-term goal, what's your longer-term goal, and we help you every step of the way to reach your goals. We also do some resume writing and interview preparations. If you're looking for just feedback about your resume, or if you need to write a resume, and we also can help with interviewing and getting ready for interviews. We have great connections, like I said, with businesses. We have great connections with the state and the federal employers in the area. And there's a lot of direct hiring opportunities for veterans that not all veterans know about. So there's some direct hiring through the federal government right at the VA. We work closely with our HR department for veterans that qualify for a direct hire. And the state has a 55BC direct hiring program for veterans. So there's a lot of opportunities. And we also connect veterans with any education programs. We have some really strong links with the colleges in our area and the training programs. So if you're not sure what you want to do, just sitting down and talking to somebody and kind of exploring options can really help you to guide you on a path to where you want to go. We kind of look at it as helping a veteran get a career, not just a job. Like, what do you really want to do? What's fulfilling to you? We also have some work programs at the medical center. We have a transitional work program where we have veterans working in all different departments, our supply department, our housekeeping. We run our wheelchair program at our medical center, our grounds department, and we also have some positions up at the Saratoga National Cemetery. And we're always looking to develop more positions in the community. And then we have a supported employment program that helps veterans with mental health and other barriers to employment to really carve out positions in the community. Wherever you're thinking you want to work, we can help you every step of the way to kind of make the contact with the employer, or kind of be behind the scenes to help in any way we can. And that program has many veterans that are working in the community and just need different levels of support, and we're there every step of the way to help. I already talked about the Veteran Employment Council aftercare supports. We really try to, when a veteran gets employment, we try to follow up, check in, is there anything you need? We were doing some aftercare in-person groups until the pandemic, and now we're starting to do some virtual aftercare groups with veterans that are employed, and sometimes they'll come back to the group and talk about there's hiring events at where I'm working now and help other veterans to get employed. And we're also doing some virtual hiring events. So we've done a few of those. We have, like I said, a lot of connections with employers in the area. And we have an employment resource guide for veterans that lists all employment options that we know about, any upcoming events for employment, and we send that out to veterans and providers just to help spread the word. We have a pretty strong relationship with our Department of Labor, and they also send us a lot of information about employment and apprenticeship training programs. And so we try to keep everybody up to date about everything that's available out there.
Thank you so much, Maureen. Doing great
Thank you.
work. Next up, we have Trisha Kidder, who has a couple hats with us and is our LGBTQ plus veteran care coordinator. Trisha?
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. You can go right into the next slide. Really just want to start by kind of going back to what Emily had initially mentioned, just in terms of our medical center and the VA and in general, really looking to be a national leader in healthcare for women. It's much the same and expands beyond that. And in my role specifically as LGBTQ plus veteran care coordinator, it expands into this population of veterans as well. And one of the ways that we go about doing that is by really looking to maintain a high level of education and competency and services, wide range of services, or expanding our services, making sure our policies are inclusive and welcoming. And the VA overall, but our VA specifically participates in a survey, the Healthcare Quality Survey conducted by the Human Rights Campaign Foundation. And just our most recent result was that we were designated as the top performer in LGBTQ plus healthcare. So it just really highlights the importance of, as it says here, sexual orientation and gender identity matter. It matters in healthcare, and it's one of my roles is making sure that we're a welcoming environment with knowledgeable staff who are there to listen to your healthcare concerns, and if there are any disparities, heading them head on, and just making sure, as it says, that our care has no boundaries. Next slide. So just a quick review here of the affirming care that our facility provides. Again, we want to make sure we have a welcoming environment that's is sensitive to our veterans' needs and with high quality healthcare that's accessible to you. Specifically beyond the other services that have already been described, there are specific areas in preventative care that we like to focus on in terms of heart health and a variety of screenings, and in our preventative care, and then also in our behavioral health and supportive services. We have a Pride support group available, and our specialty clinics like our endocrinology clinic for hormone therapies, and prosthetic services available too, that are meant to be affirming and gender confirming in care. Next slide. This I just put out there. It's a busy slide, but it's basically hot off the press in terms of this past week with the 10th anniversary of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Want to put it out there in terms of awareness that there is an acknowledgement that up to or more than 14,000 service members were discharged other than honorably. And there is a process for upgrading discharge status so that then become eligible to receive our healthcare services. So, currently, while that part isn't necessarily new in terms of upgrading a discharge status, really making sure that, again, it's not a cumbersome process. Again, we want to be welcoming and that process, as well, we want it to be as painless as possible. So our staff here in our business office or with the VSOs in the community, we can all be here to help with that. Next slide. A little bit about the LGBTQ+ veteran care coordinator role. This role has been in place since 2012. Our previous veteran care coordinator retired this summer, so I was appointed in the role. The responsibilities, as I've said, creating a welcoming environment, and it's making sure that our ability to be inclusive here is visible in that, what from our physical structure to also how we interact with our veterans. And so we want to know your preferred names. We want to know your preferred pronouns. Want to share with us your concerns in terms of your health as it may relate to your gender identity. Big focus is going to be on increasing our services, enhancing our services, and staff training. So there is a link here, the last link on the bottom, sharing LGBTQ+ identity with providers. It's a recent video from Make the Connection that the Big VA put out, just sharing stories. So I encourage you to take a look at all those videos. They're really impactful and I think really highlight why this role is here and why we hope to continue to provide care that really has no boundaries. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Tricia. I'm really happy to hear of all the advancements going on and look forward to hearing more. And lastly, and I'm sorry everyone that we are going over, we have Glenn Gilbert, who is our Service Chief of Patient Experience and Whole Health Coordinator. Glenn?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Great, so I'll make this brief. You can go to the next slide. As the picture says on the first slide here, discover what matters to you. Whole health is not so much a program as it's an approach that we are working to adopt to our VA culture. As you've heard tonight, there are a lot of resources and a lot of programming that's available to people who are coming to VA for services. And we want to reinforce what matters to you and what's important to you. So many providers will start a session by saying or asking, what is important to you? What is your healthcare mission if you have one? If you don't, think about it, so that VA can support you in what it is you want to work on and how you want to approach it. Next slide. There are a number of ways that VA will support you besides asking. We have resources available to explain what the VA's whole health program is to veterans. We have a health coach, we have peer support specialists who will discuss with you what's available to you. And so that you have a good idea of what whole health and wellness is, at least as VA understands it. Next slide. Our healthcare approach starts out with trying to introduce veterans to what our healthcare, our whole healthcare approach is. Next slide. As it mentioned on the slide there, we're looking to empower veterans and help them play an active role in maintaining their own health and wellness. VA stands ready to treat veterans who have serious health issues. We want to be there for people when they are ill or they need medical attention. But we also know that supporting you in taking care of your own health and leading a healthy and well life is just as important to you, so that maybe we will not have to do so many healthcare initiatives with you. So we want to support that. So you will hear people ask questions about what really matters to you, what brings you a sense of joy and happiness. Those are things we want to help you focus on. And what do you want your health for? And that changes over time. People want to maintain their health and be healthy for certain events or occurrences in their life. So we want to support that. Next slide. This is just a brief slide. It's an overview of the different components. Not only do we do some whole health counseling and coaching, but we have people who provide chair yoga online, mindfulness, meditation. We've started a Qigong Tai Chi class online this past spring. We have in-person chiropractic and services that may be of importance to the veteran that we don't necessarily offer. We can refer to the community for community care, such as acupuncture or clinical hypnosis or biofeedback. So those are some of the new services, but it's important for you to tell your providers what it is you want to work on and what you want your health care for. So next slide. So anyway, this is just a reminder. Please discover what matters to you and share that with us. And I'll conclude that with my presentation here. Lots of people know about whole health. My contact number is 626-5331. And I'll turn it back over to Emily now. And thank you for the opportunity to share this evening.
Thank you, Glenn. And I'm sorry to put you last and give you such a time crunch. Whole health certainly is a very important aspect of the care, and I'm very glad to see that also advancing for holistic services. And so now the floor is yours for questions.